Ladies and gentlemen, please listen close. This is for you. They thought your fall was the ending. They thought the chapter had closed. They thought the story was over. And they laughed, not quietly, not kindly, but with the kind of laugh that comes from people who never wanted you to win in the first place. You saw it in their eyes. You heard it in their tone. You felt it in the silence of the ones who didn't defend you. But here's the thing they forgot. They don't write your ending. God does. And God isn't finished with you yet. Listen to me closely, because this is not just motivation. This is a warning to the part of you that's been sleeping. You can't stay on the ground any longer. You can't wait for someone to pick you up. You can't wait for their approval to move forward. This is your rise. And when you rise, you're not going to walk quietly back into the game. You're going to storm in with the kind of energy that makes people step back and whisper. You see, God's smile is not loud, but it is unstoppable. When God smiles on you after loss, doors start opening that people tried to close. Opportunities start showing up in ways you couldn't plan. And your enemies, they start getting nervous because they remember the version of you that was already dangerous before the fall. And now you're coming back sharper. Pause for a second and let me say this. If you're new here, hit subscribe right now. Like this video. Drop a comment about where you're watching from. And for those of you who've been here with me for a while, thank you. Your loyalty is the reason we keep building this army of relentless minds. Now back to you. You've got to understand that loss is the greatest filter in life. When you fall, you find out who was clapping for you out of convenience and who was clapping for you out of faith. Loss strips the room bare, and suddenly you see the truth. When you lost, you learned who was real, and that lesson is priceless. But let's make something clear. Losing is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your rise. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school varsity basketball team. Cut. Humiliated. Told he wasn't good enough. Years later, he didn't just become a good player. He became the greatest basketball player of all time. And every single person who doubted him had to watch him rise with championships in his hands. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job, told she was unfit for TV. Today, she's one of the most powerful media figures in history. Billions in influence. Billions in impact, billions in proof that when God says yes, no human being can say no. Nelson Mandela was locked in a prison cell for 27 years. 27 years. They thought that was the end of him. But God smiled when he walked out free. And the same man they tried to silence became the President of South Africa, a symbol of forgiveness, and a living example that you can rise even after decades in the dark. So what about you? Are you really going to let their laughter define you? Are you really going to stay broken because they thought you wouldn't heal? No, not if you're breathing, not if you have 1 ounce of fight left in you. You might have lost the job. You might have lost the relationship. You might have lost your savings. You might have lost your health for a season. But if you still have breath, you still have the ability to rise. Let's talk about why God smiles when you rise after loss. Because rising is not just about you. It's about the people watching. It's about the souls you inspire without even knowing it. When you get back up, you send a message into the atmosphere. You tell the world that defeat is not permanent. You tell the doubters that their opinion has no power. You tell the enemy that God's plan overrides their plot. You've got to burn this into your mind. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the teacher. Pain is the evidence that you're alive. And when you can take pain and turn it into progress, you become unstoppable. Right now, you have 2 choices. Stay down and let their laughter be the last thing they remember about you. Or get up and make them choke on the sight of your comeback. And I'll tell you this, nothing is louder than the silence of your enemies when you succeed. But here's the trap. When you start rising, they'll pretend they were always on your side. Don't fall for it. Remember who was missing when you were bleeding. Remember who watched you sink and said nothing. Remember who looked away instead of reaching out. Your rise will expose them even more than your fall did. You want to know the truth. Some people need you to lose so they can feel like they're winning. Your loss was their comfort. But when you rise, it threatens their sense of control. It forces them to face the fact that your destiny is not in their hands. You can't rise halfway. You can't come back timid. You've got to come back so strong they wish they never laughed. Because when you rise like that, God's smile becomes undeniable. And everyone knows it wasn't luck. It wasn't coincidence. It was divine. So, stop apologizing for wanting to win again. Stop feeling guilty for dreaming big after being knocked down. And stop giving small-minded people the privilege of shaping your identity. You are not who you were when you fell. You are sharper. You are wiser. You are harder to break. And that is exactly why your next chapter will be the loudest yet. So here's what I want you to do right now. Get your vision back. Write down what you're going to achieve in the next 6 months. And then start moving today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Because the longer you wait, the longer they keep laughing, and the longer they keep thinking you're finished. Prove them wrong, but more importantly, Prove to yourself that you were never defined by the loss in the first place.